Welcome, friends. We've been talking a lot about mods in our live streams and roster reviews and that kind of thing. And we had our video last week about a simple mod farming plan. So I wanted to go over just kind of modding characters for, Grand Arena and general use, and then modding characters for events, just really quickly. And so if we go into Mon Mothma here, she's one of the characters that I don't really have modded very well. We have the basic view that a lot of people early on use. And so this is just ones that have good primaries for the characters and good sets for the characters. And so what the developers kind of decided that the sets should be for these characters. Just so that way you don't got to think about it really. But are these the best mods for the character? Absolutely not. It doesn't take into account specific counters you're trying to pull off or anything like that. Although the sets and stuff can be correct, but then the speed is just not there, and you definitely need speed on almost every single character. So we'll go for the advanced view, and yes, it is a ton to look at. Don't worry, we're going to simplify it and make it really easy to just take a look at. So I'm going to bring you guys over. And so we got over here, this is swago.gg. This should be your first stop when you start modding a character. And so it's just swgoh.gg. You can look up characters, you can look up counters for things, you can see exactly what type of characters you can use versus what type of characters, you can change the outcome of things and counters. It's amazing website. Love this website so much. It puts so much into the game. So we're going to look up Mon Mothma. And so we got Mon Mothma here, and it'll give all of her base stats. So, like your 13, her speed is 111, which is not great. But we can go over here to best mods. And so it'll tell us what the best mods are in Kyber. And so, for instance, in the game, it said to throw a tenacity set on. Everyone in Kyber uses speed and health as your two mod sets. And then it'll tell you what the best primary are for the different ones. It'll also tell you alternatives of what other people use, which this is kind of scary that just 4 speed and then any other 2 is the number 3. But then again, that's a 6% use because it's, 34% use the health and speed, and then 32% use speed and tenacity. And so, like, it makes sense that, it would only be a 6%. You can even check, health, protection, it'll tell you how many of the percentage of players use them, and so you can kind of get an idea of like, oh yeah, if I had a protection one, it still wouldn't be awful, but it's still not the best stat for this. And so you can kind of just take a look and see what people do. And you can also filter this by, top 100 guilds. You can, so if you're like looking more for territory war, or you can buy Carbonite, Bronzium, Chromium, Erodium, or Kyber. And it'll even tell you their speed. So their average speed in Kyber is 220, and so that's going to be our goal. 69,000 health is the average. That's going to be our goal. And so you can kind of get an idea of where you want the character to sit. And so when we go to modding, we're sitting here with this, and we can now, we need health and a speed set. So we go speed, and then health, and then only unassigned mods. And now we have all of our unassigned health and speed mods. And so I'm just going to use basically what's on this browser as our primaries. And we're just going to go through, and it's super easy because I'm just like, oh yeah, so I need a speed mod or a health mod that has speed as the primary. And so we'll just up that, and voila, we have our first mod. We can even sort these by speed, so that way we're getting the best mod that we can. Just off of what we have on us if we're trying to speed mod the character. And so, I need 4. So actually, I'm going to deselect just to see what I have for the most speed. And so for health, it's these 2. But offense isn't going to be helpful for her. What is hers for triangle? Triangle is protection. Let's see if we can't find a protection. Crit chance. Defense. What is this one? Is this health? most people do tenacity for that one. So let's take a look. Let's see if we can't find... We'll make this easy for ourselves and just hit tenacity. And so now we have tenacity right there. Let's enhance that. We don't want to leave unfinished mods on a character. Now this one is supposed to be health. So we're going to switch out that for health percent. And now we can just go boop and enhance. And so now these have to be speed mods of some type. And so this one needs to be protection. So we'll swap out that for protection. And obviously with these characters, you know, having the set, so speed and health is going to be more important than having the, excuse me, than having the overall, like, the overall primary stats, because you can always swap out the primary stats later. But you want the speed to be solid, you want the sets to be correct. And then after that, you know, you can take the time later to do more. Let's see if we can't get some solid things going. Okay, no speed, not worth it. And solid speed. Okay, sweet. We have a 2 set. And now we just need the last one, which obviously we'll just get rid of everything because these ones can only roll defense. So now we're just looking for the most speed on a speed mod. Not the best that we can do, but we'll find something in the future. And so right there, we just found all of the mods that we need for this character and have her well modded. Now you might not have the best primaries, like you may have to put like a health one here. That's totally fine. Throwing a defense one here, that's fine. If it doesn't exactly match up, that's fine. As long as you're trying to shoot for that speed goal and you're also trying to match sets, you're going to have a solid set of mods to start, and then as time goes on and you get more mods, you'll be able to match those primaries. So I want to talk a little bit about, so we got some solid speed there. This is obviously a very low level character. I think she's at, gear 9. So she's missing a lot of her base speed that she gets, which is why we're so low below the mark. But we're supposed to have about 109 extra speed, and we're already getting close. We're only 30 away. So yeah, it's not too hard to mod if you have this website open. It is literally my favorite thing in the world. And I know that was kind of long-winded to go over, but now I wanted to go over something a little bit more niche, because this is something that a lot of people already know, and everyone should be using. But this other part is a lot more niche, and a lot of people look up videos for this kind of thing, and I kind of want to give you guys the tools to do it yourself. So if you're modding a character, and like they're a brand new character, let's take Kelleran Beck for instance, just because he's the one that was most recent to come out that I had to mod by myself because there wasn't really any guides or anything. So what you want to do is you want to go through their kit, and for every you're looking for keywords. So anything like protection, health, offense, speed, anything that, you know, can be influenced by a mod, tenacity, any of those things, those are the first things you want to look for. So he loses 40% of max health and gains double that max protection. So you're going to want a lot of health so you can make it into protection. For every 10,000 protection at the start of the battle, he gains Padawan lessons. And so you get all this cool stuff. And then, you know, let's see, anything else in here for us? I mean, increased offense and defense, and so we have some keywords there. And then we like look at Jedi Bravery, for instance, and damage equal to 20% of his max protection. So you want protection, tons and tons of protection. And obviously any character, unless they otherwise specifically say something in their kit about speed being not great, like the Unaligned Force User team under Seer, where it's like speed is good but not amazing, because you want the other team to take as many turns as they can before you take your first turn, then you're fine. Always put speed on the character. And so you're looking for those keywords, and so obviously you're like, look at this, you're like, okay, you want health, but how much health can you actually put on? And the answer is not much, especially before gear 12, because a protection primary gives 23.5%, whereas a health primary gives, I want to say it's 6%, so much less. And so I have him modded for protection with some speed. And that is going to be the best thing that I can do personally for this character. Is going to be that protection, because it'll influence its damage, it'll influence how much damage his team does under his leadership ability, and so you can kind of look at the keywords and get an idea yourself on how you're supposed to mod a character, just in case you're at that point where, you know, you are getting newer characters and you're like, I don't know how to mod this person. I also want to go over modding for events. Modding for events is going to be very different than what modding would be for the character normally. For instance, Jedi Knight Luke. When you're working on this event, you've got this tier. Oh, sorry, hold on. I'll find it eventually. This tier right here. And so when you start going through it, you start getting just absolutely brutalized. The thing is, though, the brutalization comes from the expose mechanic, which deals damage equal to your max health. And so having health mods are going to be detrimental to you, because the more health you have, the more damage they will deal to you. And so you're going to want to put on things like protection mods instead, because if your protection is more than your health, then if they do 10% of your health as damage, and you have twice as much protection, that's only 5% of your protection. And so you want to mod specifically based off of like the factors in the actual battle. And so you take a look at kind of what effects are on the field and what's hitting you. It might just be you need to increase your speed. It might just be you need to increase your damage. But a lot of them have specific little things that you got to pay attention to. Like, for instance, in the Ki-Adi-Mundi mission in Territory Battles, they have a protection disruption. So that means you shouldn't have any mods that have protection on them. Because that protection is just going to go away, and so it's not actually going to help any of your characters. So you want to mod them for tons and tons of health, so that way they can survive, because they're not going to have their protection. It's just going to be gone for the entire game, or the entire event. And so you have to keep in mind these ideas of, you know, what effects are in place for each of these, and that'll help you figure out what you should switch your mods to. And don't forget, you can save mods as mod profiles, so that way you can have a loadout and have, you know, mods being like, okay, so, and you can name them, so I could be like, this one, I know for a fact this is my Kylo Ren mods, just for whenever I move them around. So, you know, Kylo Ren, this is regular Kylo Ren, by the way, Kylo Ren, and then I can just, you know, take the mods off of Kylo Ren, throw them onto whatever character I need for the event. If I'm worried about things getting, you know, applied on that character, then I can just be like, oh yeah, no, here's the mods from Kylo Ren, so that way they have tons of tenacity, and then when I'm done with the event, I can just click the mod loadout and just move all those mods right back to the character. So yeah, mod loadouts are going to help a ton when you're doing events. But regardless, that's kind of your overview for how you should mod characters. A little bit about how you should mod new characters, kind of just looking at their kits, looking for keywords. Another piece to look at, by the way, for modding a new character, this one comes with experience. For instance, Merrin, it's, you know, the suggested for her is the game itself. Let's go to the basic. Is saying, oh yeah, you want a health set, you want a potency set, and you want a tenacity set, which honestly wouldn't be bad for Merrin. But the idea of having those three does not take into account that you're going to go up against Jabba, and Jabba deals thermal detonators, and having a health set when thermal detonators are on the field makes it so that way the thermal detonators will deal more damage. And so instead, everyone puts tenacity sets to try to avoid thermal detonators. And so it's a full tenacity set if you go over to swago.gg and take a look. And so you got to be careful a lot of the times, because a lot of these are based off of what they can counter as well. Not just, you know, what's in their kit, but what are they best at facing and how can we optimize that counter. But yeah, so hopefully that helps you guys kind of understand why we mod the way we mod, as well as how to mod like the best players in the game. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear them in the comments. If you have any other strategies for modding for characters, I'd love to hear it. I'm not, I'm not sponsored or anything, but Hot Utils is a great thing if you want to spend a little money. Hot Utils will keep track of your mods, and you can make an entire mod profile so you can move everything back. It's what Arnold uses. I use it as well. Super, super helpful. But, it does cost a bit of money, so it's kind of up to you. I've seen some guilds do it where they're like, one person buys like a membership that covers multiple people just to make it cheaper, and so everyone pays just a little bit. But regardless, Hot Utils is great, but you can do it by yourself. They've added enough mod support that things work fairly well even without Hot Utils. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark by January. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, especially if you like these kinds of videos, and I will see you guys in the next video.